Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Brendan and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, it is great to have you. And if you've been teetering the line of whether to be bullish or bearish in the crypto market right now, this is going to be the video for you. Because today I want to show you not only one of the most bullish models for Bitcoin, but one of the most accurate models that has worked consistently since 2018. Now, if you're not a pro at technical analysis or you're just starting out in your journey in cryptocurrency, this is going to be the video for you. I'm going to make it easy to digest and easy to understand no matter what your level of knowledge is in the cryptocurrency space. So today what we're going to be doing is looking at the 3-day chart of Bitcoin and talking about its RSI, because this has to be one of the most bullish and consistent models that really no one's talking about. So with that being said, welcome back to the channel. Again, my name is Brendan. We're trying to hit 10,000 subscribers before the end of this year. So if you like what I have to say here and enjoy what I have to talk about and find it useful, consider subscribing. But with that being said, let's go ahead and zoom on out here and talk about this beautiful RSI chart on Bitcoin. Now, we're also going to talk about the MACD just a little bit because there is massive double bullish divergence happening on there. But again, we'll get to that in just a second. So going back to Bitcoin chart, I want to explain what the relative strength index, otherwise known as the RSI, is. So what this does is this helps us measure relative levels of something being overbought or oversold. And what we can see is that when something is having consistently higher swing lows, meaning that every swing attempt to the downside, it's not getting as low as its previous runs, what that does is that shows that there is lower levels of negative momentum upon every attempt from the bears to push this further and further down. And so since the relative strength index is getting higher and higher and higher, it's telling me that the bears are getting weaker and weaker and weaker, and that the bulls are getting stronger and stronger and stronger. Now, again, if we go back here, this has been happening since November of 2018, and this has just been playing out beautifully since then. We'll take a look at the 1-day as well, but I want to highlight this on a 3-day first. Of course, we can see the initial beginning over here in November of 2018. We saw this bottom, we saw the ultimate next higher swing low, and then the next higher swing low, which actually just happened just a couple of months ago back in July. Been making videos about this for a while now, and it has been playing out beautifully. Now we've seen the tops of this happening in May of 2019, and then of course happening over in the beginning of this year. Towards the beginning of this year, when the crypto market topped out, took a nice steep dive, and since then we have been recovering. So I do believe that this model will continue to play true, and if we're looking at this, it's entirely possible for Bitcoin to hit this next higher swing high that would send us soaring, and I mean absolutely blazing through all-time highs. If you think that we could get to a near 100 on the relative strength index of a 3-day chart and not break through 65,000, I don't know what to tell you. I'm not one to make these crazy price prediction videos, but if this plays out and we hit this next level of the relative strength index, I would be surprised if Bitcoin wasn't close or above $100,000. I know that sounds crazy, but let's take a quick look at the 1-day chart before we come back here. Now, the 1-day chart looks fairly similar. Again, we're going to have a little bit more candle action, a little bit more action here on this RSI because it's on a smaller time scale. Now, what we can see is kind of the similar levels. We can see the initial line that we used on this 3-day chart. We're not really going to be paying as much attention to that one, but what I do want to pay attention to is this bottom one. Of course, we see the same model happening across the time scales, which is what we should see if something is truly bullish. And so, of course, we're seeing that on the 1-day as well. We see the lower model, or excuse me, we see the ultimate swing low, the higher swing low happening not once, but 2 times after that, forming 3 consecutive higher swing lows on this relative strength index. Now, this other line over here does help us kind of show that if there is no kind of macro swing low, well, where will these micro swing lows happen? And that's what the secondary line is for on this daily chart. We can see the secondary bottoms in here and here, the short-term bottoms in here and here and here, and of course, most recently in here, which is what we predicted in one of the technical analyses. Is that a word, technical analyses? A couple of videos ago. And of course, we came down, we touched this level, we didn't need to go any deeper, and this played out beautifully. We've been on an absolute rocket ship of a bounce since then with Bitcoin, if we want to measure this out, going from a near $40,000 up to 51, 52 to where we're currently at right now. which turns out to be about 27%. In my video yesterday, I said it would go up about 29%, so we're about 1.5% off. But going back to this 3-day chart, I want to talk a little bit more about this RSI and this MACD. You know, why do the macros of this look so good? And that's really what the key indicator of this video is. We're not saying the short term won't go down or the short term won't go up. What we're saying is that the macros of Bitcoin, just looking at some candle charts and some indicators and oscillators, the macro of this looks beautiful. Again, this double bullish divergence has been playing out for some time. I've mentioned this as well. The double bullish divergence on Bitcoin, and what this is essentially the same thing, saying that we have a lower swing low, which is essentially just the bears losing momentum. The bears are not as strong as they once were, and it's very evident of that. So with the bears not being as strong, we have double bullish divergence, because now what we have is one lower swing or one higher swing low than what we have previously seen. So with all this happening, Bitcoin has been on the price rise once again, holding this 100 EMA and continuing on its trajectory upwards. Now, I do want to be careful here because there is definitely some resistance coming up on Bitcoin that we need to talk about. Not only are we forming from this previous swing high, which happened just around 53,000, which is what we started topping out at before we started seeing a little bit of resistance in here, but we do have some other resistance levels as well. We have the previous bottom of this head and shoulders, or the previous shoulder line of this head and shoulders now, which is probably going to be used as resistance, I would imagine. So I am being a little bit skeptical over here. Again, Bitcoin has had a phenomenal rally over here, around 27-28%. It is possible for it to pull back some here, and I am being a little bit hesitant of that, knowing full well if this breaks 53,000, it could really start ripping like we have not seen it do before. And if it gets up to its all-time high and breaks that, I think it's really going to turn on the turbo engines, put in the Tesla motors, and maybe just take off. But I guess rewinding us back to this RSI, this has been one of my favorite models. You know, I can't rant enough about this. When the relative strength index shows consistent higher swing lows, it has to be one of the most bullish and telling factors in the market. And to see a macro chart that looks this beautiful, I can't remember the last time that I saw any other chart outside of cryptocurrency that showed this great of macros. Just in technical analysis. Now, when we see the opposite of this, it's a bearish thing, right? When we see a lower swing high, just like this, it's a bearish thing. Luckily, we have not seen that right now. We're not really in danger of seeing that quite yet. Bitcoin's RSI on this 3-day chart is still in a very neutral zone. Now, if we want to switch things over to a 1-day, this is where someone could argue that there is potential bearish divergence, because we do see these consistent lower swing highs. And the nice thing here is that this isn't up and in like an overextended area for Bitcoin. This isn't happening where Bitcoin's at 80 or 90 above, because that's where you get in the real threat of the crash, is when you're seeing that happen in an area like this, right? When we're seeing this happen, that's where things start to get scary. The nice thing here is that we're seeing this significantly lower, almost in the median zone. We're not in the overextended zone. We're not in the oversold zone. We're kind of just in the happy medium zone. So to see this in here does make me feel more comfortable. I like the fact that this formation isn't just copy pasted about 10-20 points above here. That would make me a lot more scary. You know, nonetheless, this needs to break in order for Bitcoin to really start taking off again. We need to get out of the pattern here of having consistent lower swing highs on the RSI, because we're starting to see consistent higher swing lows from the RSI. So now we just kind of need to flip this upside down. Nonetheless, the macros of Bitcoin, as I will continue to say, look beautiful, right? We love what we see. I like how Bitcoin has been performing, and that's why I have been and continue to be bullish on Bitcoin. Now, I might trade some in here. I might buy. Again, we're not talking about a short-term time scale in here. I'm not talking about a 15, a 1 hour, anything like that. We're not even talking about the 4 hour for the most part. We're talking on the large scale of Bitcoin, these 3-day charts. They look really nice. Doesn't mean that Bitcoin can't pull back, but it does say that the overall macros of Bitcoin are looking really nice, and I do like the way that they look. But we're gonna go ahead and round off the video there. If you did enjoy this content, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. Again, we're trying to hit 10,000 subscribers before the end of the year, so if you did like this content, turn on those post notifications, share this with a friend, drop me a comment in the comment section down below, and if you want to join the Discord, there is a free link to that in the description down below as well. Maybe I'll include something at the end of this video that will show it so that you can navigate yourself.